I'll say shot making. I think that they made shots. Some obviously, some open, and some just tough shots. And I don't think we made really any. It's pretty much pinpointed.
When you came here, you were talking about championship. For this organization, they haven't been this far, conference finals, since 2018. They haven't been here without LeBron in more than 30 years. So when you look at those two realities, like, how are you processing this?
I think we accomplished a lot. Still short of the goal, but I think we accomplished getting to the conference finals. And there's another level to get to, maybe two levels to get to. I think a lot of that is just maybe our first time together, and the first two series we had opportunities to handle the series much quicker. And we didn't. We didn't take advantage of it, which trickled down to having to go 2 Game 7s, which is difficult to now face a team who's offensively playing extremely well and rested. So it's a little frustrating, but I think the being here 2.5, 3 months is that team's been together for some years, so which you still don't get brownie points for it, but I think we're in a good space, and we got some work to do. But we had a good season.
You mentioned them being together for a long time, and you've also said since you got here, it's such a short time for you to get acclimated to them and them to get acclimated to you and stuff like that. Is it your hope that this group remains together, and do you believe that the outcome will be different if it does stay together?
We're a very, very talented group. Like I said, you go through. We don't have the experience with playing amongst each other in postseason basketball. So literally, it's our first time going through whatever we were going to go through, and I think we accomplished a lot. Winning a Game 7 at home, winning a Game 7 on the road, and getting to the conference finals. Now we have to take another 2 steps, starting this summer, but take another 2 steps and being even better. Now you get a full season of understanding what we have as a group and setting ourselves up, positioning-wise, for better. Being a 4th seed it's tough, So, you take a step at a time.
Thank you.
Well, just for you personally, kind of self-assess your playoff run and just kind of in general how you fit in with this group. How do you feel? How do you take away from it?
I think I did pretty good, I don't grade myself off shot making. I think coming here was just a piece to fulfill whatever needs to be fulfilled, and defensively being extremely solid, offensively, getting guy shots and fitting into a system that was already in place. So I think I did good. Obviously I could have been better. I feel like I always could be better. But I know one thing, that I work extremely hard. You know what I'm saying? And things just don't go the way you would like them to. As far as shot making. But I think as being as seasoned that I am and experienced that I am, I try to impact the game in other ways. Just because I know that we are capable. When I'm not making shots, we're still capable of winning games, and we did that. So. Also just, from, regular season playing, 34 minutes to, I don't know if I led the playoffs in minutes, but, close to, playing a lot of minutes a game. So the transition was a little different, and I got to prepare myself for it.
Nate. Hey, James. Kenny's taking a lot of criticism with you guys getting swept. What have you learned about him in your time with him, and how do you think he did as a coach for you guys in these playoffs?
Ultimate player's coach. He gets it. He understands. He understands his team, and Yeah, of course, somebody's going to have to take the criticism, whether it's myself or Kenny or whoever, the entire team, whoever. Like they're gonna put it on somebody. But I think for Kenny, he did an unbelievable job of getting me acclimated as fast as possible to understanding what I was supposed to be doing out there, and it's just an unfortunate situation. You know what I mean? Like any team coming off a tough two series against two defensive monsters, it would have been challenging. And I don't necessarily, like, maybe the first three quarters we played well. I don't even know if the first half in the first game one. I think maybe that third quarter we played well. We actually made shots. And then other than that, I don't necessarily can't remember a quarter where we actually made shots, like as a group, which is like, you're not gonna win against any team. So it's just that's a little frustrating because we did play so well and we put ourselves in positions to be successful. It just didn't end up that way.
Heading into this series, were you at all thinking, the Knicks have all this rest, we don't. We've been to 2 Game 7s. Like, this could affect. We could have dead legs. It could affect our shooting. Or were you surprised by all that?
You said, was I thinking it?
Were you concerned that could be a result of
the
consequence of the way the first 2 rounds went? Or
at a point, we all have, like, sometimes we have concerns, but you have no choice. Like, it is what it is. You got to go out there and figure it out and fight. And I think we did an unbelievable job of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at this film, and we had unlimited open looks, and we just didn't make them, and they made them. You know what I mean? Like, if we make shots, then this is a completely different series. If they miss shots, it's a completely different series. But they made them. So this league is a make or miss league, and you make shots, it makes it a little bit easier. Especially defensively. So it's a little frustrating in that aspect that we did get some really good looks. But yeah.
James, being in the league 17 years, do you still learn new stuff about yourself as a player or a person every year? Like, do you feel like this season coming to Cleveland, you learned something new about yourself?
Yeah, like I've been fortunate to be in different situations, different roles, and so just this last few months has just been another opportunity to learn how can I implement myself into a situation that's already put together and figure out other ways to impact the game instead of going into a situation where I'm already comfortable or it's evolved around me. Like, me coming here was an opportunity to, like, adjust and figure out how to play with all these other guys on the team that already had a system that's been in play for a few years. So it's challenging, you know what I mean? But it's like a opportunity to learn, learn yourself, learn the team, learn what benefits, what works for you, what doesn't work. And it was still that, like, you go what 15 to 20 regular season games, and then you get right into the postseason. So I think I did an okay job. I always feel like I said, I can be better, but we got a long way to go.
Joe.
James, obviously it took a heavy lift on all sides to get you here.
Yeah.
But you do have a contract option coming up. Do you, and then you could decline and do some other stuff and still be here. Do you want to be here, and do you expect that you'll be here next season?
Yes, 100%, definitely. Both to answer yes. Definitely want to be here. I think we found some. Like, it's tough, just not ending it how we wanted to. But I think we found some. Yeah.
James, how you and Don are both ball dominant guys. So, how difficult will it be to improve that when you're on the floor together next year?
Like I said, like I just answered, like, for me, it's, when Don has it going or where he's, being aggressive, it's opportunities for me just to, play off the ball and let him do his thing. And And sometimes you get caught like in just waiting, and not touching the ball for a few possessions. But you have to be okay with that. And that's one of the things that coming from even just previous situations. I haven't. Not that really was the case. I was always had the ball in my hand. So like situations like that where internally it's sometimes it's better for our team, but outside it's like, okay, well, James isn't being aggressive. It's like you got somebody that's averages 30 points a game who's got it going. So finding how to play off the ball, when to go get the ball, when to search myself, when to be aggressive, when to play make, like all that happens possession by possession. So you got to just figure out. And I think for the most part we did a pretty good job. So I think going into the summer and going into next season, figure ways to make it even better.
And then, reflecting on this series, how much better, if they're better, are the Knicks than you guys?
I mean, I can't even answer that question honestly. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was 4-0, but I don't think we had a chance as far as our best shot. From a standpoint of the circumstances. Obviously they dominated us 4-0, but I don't know if I can necessarily answer that question, just because genuinely I do feel like we are the better team, but series wise it didn't show it, so it's a tough question to answer.
James, I know you referenced game one and losing the 22-point lead, but Donovan talked about it multiple times the other night too. I guess looking back on this series, how much do you think you guys are going to reflect on that as a missed opportunity?
That's probably one opportunity, but there's a handful of opportunities off the top of my head that I can think that if it were to go different, we wouldn't be in the position we're at right now. Like you take for instance the first series in Toronto. I think it's Toronto had opportunities two times to win up in Toronto. We go to Game 7 there, got an opportunity to close out Detroit. We have two opportunities to win in Detroit the first two games. Have opportunity to close out in Game 6. Go to Game 7. Like all that compounds. So now we're playing extra games and extra minutes, and now we go into a situation where, we give up a 22-point lead. So just a few things, for all of us that, I feel like if we were taking care of business, we're not in this situation. But in reality, we are where we are right now.
Jim?
James, Donovan will be eligible to sign an extension this summer. There's all kinds of big picture questions that come along with that. What is your level of confidence that he can be, a 1A guy that can lead a team to a championship?
What was the what was the second part?
What's your level of confidence?
Oh, I'm very, very confident. Very confident. Like, this team is not even where we at without him. So, and this is his first time making it to the conference, finals, and I'm sure he wants to improve and do things, so we can advance and get even further, and so. I think as a team we get better individually, and we let front office do what they do, and we just focus on what we can control and just keep pushing.
I believe that now you have tied Karl Malone for the most playoff wins without a championship in league history.
Yep.
Obviously, that says a lot about the success that you've had, and it says you still haven't gotten to the pinnacle. How does that hit you?
Still here, right? Still alive. Still going. Like, that's all I can do. Like, as much as we want to, feel sorry or doubt, like, our journeys or our paths in life, whether it's me, whether it's you guys, like, you got to just keep pushing. You got to keep putting the work in. Like, I was in the gym 8:30 this morning, like, putting up shots and didn't make a 3 today. You know what I'm saying? But, like, it's a part of life. So it's like, I can't – I'm the one that has to sit here and live in it. So I'm more and overly confident in who I am as a person, the work that I put in, and the dedication that I have to this game. And that's why I'm still playing, at a high level. So, I'll keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing until I can't play anymore. And, we'll see when that happens.
James, you mentioned that you believe that you guys are still the better team, even after this series. What makes you believe that?
We are. I feel like we didn't have a fair chance, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't play not a quarter of just Cavs basketball, like, offensively. And that right there is the frustrating part, because we did play well, from since I've been here. Like, we've had stints where we played extremely well. We made shots, and they gave us a chance. And, it's only so much you can do defensively, so many stops you can get, especially against a great offensive team. You know what I mean? So if you're not making shots, like I said before, you're not going to beat anybody.
What is it that you're going to take from this season into this summer, your time with the Cavs?
Nothing. For me, I'm going to focus on preparing myself and my body to come back for 18th season and figure out, what best fits this team and how I need to play and what I need to do individually to be better than I was and go from there. Like, I let everything else play out and handle itself, but I think now, and just in my space and where I am, I gotta, always focus on how can I be better, how can I get back to just being in better shape, being a better leader, being a better just basketball player. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing for me. So yeah.
Every time we've sat up here and reflected back on a playoff series loss, you've always said that it's come down to something that you've been able to pinpoint. What do you feel like this series against the Knicks came down to?
The Toronto and the Detroit series? I mean, y'all asked me 1,000 times if we were tired. I can't tell you yes. But, I mean, we did this to ourselves. And that's not an excuse. They're a hungry team. They beat us, swept us. So I don't want to diminish that. But we didn't give ourselves a chance because we didn't handle business. And I told them guys in the locker room, I said, now we know. Like, for a lot of us who've never been here, you can't play with your food. We had an opportunity to close both series and give ourselves some rest, and we weren't. And then, obviously, there's things in this series you can point to, whether it's turnovers, defense, whatever. But you got to be able to give yourself a chance. And we had an opportunity in Game 1, and then we blew that. So the two series before, having to go 7, and it's our fault. Like, we did that to ourselves, and that puts you in a tough position against a team that's not only been to the conference finals, knows what that takes, but also has the rest, mental preparation. And then on top of that, having Game 1 happen and we didn't execute, it's on us. And we couldn't control that, and that's what happened.
You guys as a team got to the conference finals for the first time since 2018 in this franchise. For you, it was your first conference finals appearance, but it ends like this in a sweep against the Knicks. How do you process the reality of taking that step in your career but not getting to ultimately where you want to go?
I think, honestly, the first thing my mind jumped to was just those two series. It's like, that's my learning lesson. That's our learning lesson. As much as I'm grateful for overcoming something that's been an obstacle for me personally for 9 years, there was an opportunity for us before that. And whether it's a missed blockout, a bad shooting night, a bad decision, happened 2 consecutive series, and that put us behind the 8 ball. And that's my biggest thing is just like, you gotta give yourself a chance. And then you go to this series and we're up 22 and you lose. Like, that's where my head is at. I mean, yeah, I made the conference finals, woohoo, you know what I mean? But we had an opportunity. And you give credit where credit's due. They are playing really well. And they hitting some shots. Like, you know what I mean? They're playing well, they're hungry. But when you have an opportunity to put your foot on somebody's neck, you have to do it in this league. You have to. Otherwise, this is the result.
Do you want to see this group stay together, and do you believe that the result will be different if it does?
Yeah, I have no doubt that this group can get there. I've said that all year. I think the biggest thing is you just use it as a learning lesson. It's a tough learning lesson. But now we know, right? I mean, that's not how I like to say things, but you know what I mean? We know. Like, you know what I mean? And this team that we just faced had to go through this. Maybe not this way, right? But they've been together, they've been a core group and had to go through this tough experience. So it's our turn. And I'm sorry for the city of Cleveland for it to be like this in a sweep. Like you know what I'm saying? But I told y'all last year, and I'll tell y'all again, we'll be back, and we'll be ready, and we'll be hungry, and we'll be locked in. But yeah.
Where do you think this group needs to improve over the next however many months before you guys are back playing basketball again to get to where the Knicks are right now?
I hate to copy what I said last year. We took a major step mentally, like I hoped, as a group. But there's another level. When I don't mean necessarily maybe in game, maybe it's in your training, in your nutrition, rest. But I think the biggest thing is to be able to play this long. The one thing I've learned is it's as much mental as it is physical. I think physically, yeah, we're all beat up. Everybody's beat up. But I'm going to keep hammering to the point. If we put teams away in those first two series, I'm not saying, you know, I gotta give my respect to them for sweeping us, but you know, we didn't do that, and I think that's the biggest thing, and that comes down to mental focus. Like, you look at me, an 8-second violation against the Raptors, can't happen, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Shooting 6 of 20 in Game 6 against Detroit, can't happen, right? Like, so, you know, the turnovers. For all of us to miss blockouts, that's all mental. It's all stuff we can control. And being able to control what you can control individually, you know, if it's 2 mistakes for Max, and it's 2 for me, and it's 2 for James, and it's 2 for Ev, that's 8 right there. You know what I mean? And God forbid those aren't 3s. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing, is being able to mentally stay locked in at every second. And you saw it with this team, right? They've been doing this since they got hit in the mouth against Atlanta. You know, so use it as fuel and get better, and we'll be ready for next year.
Rob, as you talk like somebody who just has a vision of the future here, and you are an extension.
I've said the same thing, Danny. Just,
what do you foresee?
I love it here. I don't know how else to say it. I've said it before I signed the other extension. Like, I love it here, and I have no doubt this group can get there. But, you know, reports are going to be reports. People are going to be people. But I've said the same thing. We have unfinished business. It's great energy to see the city, you know, when we got to the conference finals, just to feel like that's amazing. You know what I mean? And that's why getting swept like this sucks, because, you know, you feel what, like, even driving in, like, people were going crazy. Like, I love that. I love that about this place, man. Like, it's the city deserves a ring, and we just got to keep going, and yeah.
Mike?
I asked the same question to Kenny, but you guys did take that next step, reach the conference finals. Obviously, not the MVP1, but is taking that next step, would you consider the season a success?
Yeah and no. I mean, the ultimate goal is a championship, right? So in that perspective, we failed. But we were 17 and 16 at one point. There was conversations from all of y'all, right? And I said this in the locker room, and I wanted to that point. Naquan Tomlin, Tyrese Proctor, Craig Porter. I'm missing somebody. Please, Jalen Tyson. We're not here without those 4. Right, like, the success part comes from stuff like that. Like, we started Jalen, for like 30-something games. Started Tyrese, started Quan, started Craig. Like, that's huge. That's a big part of why we're able to be in this position alone. And they didn't know that coming into the season. Shoot, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? And they worked out. They worked their tails off. So when I say yes, there's success, it's little things like that, right? Like just seeing the growth from a lot of individuals in this locker room. I'm very proud of that, the locker room for that. But a lot of the young guys, man, like they don't get enough credit. They held us afloat. We had injuries upon adversity, and Jalen Tyson's getting 40. Reese is getting 15 and 20 points. Quan doing windmills. People comparing him to Bron. Like Craig has been phenomenal. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. I love that for those guys, man. Like that is huge, and that's where this. I think there's success because, you know, that's what this is about. And you know, for us, the guys that have been there, we understand. Like we got to a point, but we don't get here without that and without them. So I think that's where the success comes in.
Donovan, James was in here just before you, and he said he expects to be back and wants to be back with the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
In your 3 months as teammates, what did you take away from that, and do you think you guys together could get where you want to go?
I would hope he wants to be back. But yeah, I there's so much. He's helped this group and myself get to somewhere I've never been. And with that being said, that's with 3 months of work, 3 months of prep, 3 months of whatever. Now we have a full summer of conversations, of film, of working out together, training camp. Like you have a whole year now, right? Now we have a whole year to kind of go over certain things and what we see. And that's tough. You know, you don't always make moves at the deadline statistically and kind of improve. A lot of championship teams don't really do that. And for us to do that was impressive, for sure. But ultimately, it wasn't enough. And he wants to get back to that mountaintop. I do. I want to get there for the first time. This group does. And what he's been able to do, not just for me, but for this group, is special.
And Kenny's receiving a lot of criticism with the way the playoffs ended for you guys. What do you think of the job he did throughout the playoffs for you guys coaching?
It's just hilarious. We've done something that we haven't done since 2018, and we're still going. Like, there's gonna be criticism everywhere. Like we're on Kenny, right? But why? We got here. Like some people, not saying Kenny or us believe, but some people consider this like, oh, this is great. We did it, but we did it with Kenny. We didn't just go out there and coach ourselves, right? So then people are gonna be people. People probably criticize me just as much, and James, but I love Kenny. We love Kenny. We ride with Kenny, and ultimately that's all that matters, right? Like, I know for a fact he's from Long Island. He don't give a damn. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's just the world we live in. We could have made it to the finals and got swept. Somebody's gonna say something. I told you that. Even if we won, there was gonna be something. Like, can we do it? Like, it's always going to be something, right? And it's always gonna be something for people to say. But ultimately, we're in the thick of it. We're in it together, and that's my biggest thing. It's just people are gonna be people, and honestly, who cares? You know what I'm saying? We're in this together.
There are questions about your health the last 2 rounds up and down. I know you continue to sort of talk about it. Just how are you feeling? How did you feel by the end?
Everybody's beat up, though. Well, everybody's got something. It is what it is. I look fine today, right? So if you're out there between those lines, it don't really matter. And I'm fine.
Donovan, you have motivation every year to get to places individually and team-oriented. But to see the Knicks celebrating your home floor, the spot where you guys want to be, how much more does that give you fuel and added motivation for next year?
Yeah, this is the second time we've lost on our home floor in a row to end the season. I made the comment about the Knicks fans in our building and all that yesterday, or the game, and we didn't shut them up. So you have to look inward. What more can we do, right? So that's the biggest motivation. That and the fact that I got to go home and hear about it for probably the next, 3 or 4 months. So I'm a pretty motivated guy, but that'll probably be a little bit more. But I have no doubt for the group that, we'll take this on the chin, and we got to take our lumps. We got swept. You got to own it. It's what happened. But what are you going to do about it? Like, how are you going to respond? I've been saying this all year. How are we going to respond? And I would say our response from last season was pretty good. Can we do it again? And I have no doubt we will.
Well, you made it pretty clear where you stand, so I'm going to change it up here a little bit. Would you like to see Bron? Is that a call you would make to him?
We just ended the game, Joe.
I don't know when I'll see you again.
That is not for me. I'm not trying to get a headline. That's not for me. I'm not going to answer that. It's not for me. That's a Kobe Altman question. That's a Mike Gansey question. Because I know no matter what I say, no matter how I say it and how I try to navigate it, it's going to be a thing. So I'm sorry, Joe. I'm not going to give you anything. You have to ask Kobe and them. All I know is what we got in the locker room, and I go to ride with those guys every single day of the week. That's all I got.
Donovan, the past couple of years, there's been a lot of questions about the bigs on this team. What did Evan and Jared show you throughout this playoff run for you guys?
I mean, they showed who we believe them to be, and we know them to be. I think the questions really came externally as opposed to internally. I told Jay, man, I'm really proud of him. You know what I mean? Because not that he sees what y'all say, but like for him just continuing to battle, to do his thing and be kind of the unsung hero in a lot of cases and really have I don't call it a breakout year, but like really just be able to kind of shut people up. And I know, like I said, I know he doesn't care, and I said it in Detroit, like he doesn't care. Been cursing too much. But I think for us, we knew how talented they are. We know how talented they are. And just to see the progression, especially Jay, but also Evan, right? Like 2 injuries back to back. He didn't make the All-Star team and didn't make an All-Defensive team, which is it's its own thing. I don't know if he qualified, but like if he did, it's its own thing. He should have. But I just really love the fact that those guys continue to take the steps that we know they're capable of taking, and they have, and it's great to see.
And you touched on it a little bit, but last year when the season ended, you said that you guys just weren't hungry enough. The Pacers were hungrier. Did this run give you the taste to have that hunger to get to the finals?
If I said we weren't hungry enough, then I must have misspoke. I don't want to put that on my teammates at all. But I will say, like, we showed a lot. We could have folded a few times, right? Like, especially the second round. Like, that's a big – Game 6 was tough. I shut my phone off, but I assume it was a lot in the world, right? Like, so that's a organization-altering series. Let's just keep it a stack. Let's be honest, right? And for us to rally around each other and go out there and execute on the road, that tells you everything you need to know. And that's just one game. Toronto coming back home, taking care of business after the RJ shot goes in. Like, you could fold there and be like, damn, right? Like, that's also a organization-altering shot. Like, you know what I mean? So I have no doubt that we are hungry and want to continue. And a loss like this fashion, definitely help for sure.
Donovan, back over here. I think as we look throughout the entire playoffs, turnovers seem to be just enormous in every series, and 22 more tonight. Is that on you guys? Is that them defensively? In each, where does that lie?
That's on us. And that's part of the stuff you learn. It's like, all right, you got to value every possession. You give those possessions away, it's tough. It's tough to come back from that. So I'm not going to say I'm going to go look at the film tonight, but we'll look at it at some point and figure those things out. But it's on us. It's definitely on us. It's not on Kenny. It's not on what the other teams do. You give other teams credit, but we got to be better. And some of them are careless. Some of them are, they just play good defense. You know what I mean? Or you lose the ball, it slips, right? But some of them, it's mental. It's a mental focus, and you got to be stronger with the ball. And we'll go back and look at it and use it as fuel for the summer.
As far as it seemed like you guys had to get punched in the mouth before the effort was really there, the focus was really there, and you brought your best game. Why do you think that?
Tonight or in general?
What's that?
You talking about tonight or you talking about in general?
In general, there have been games where, it took you guys getting down 10, 12 points, and then all of a sudden we see this and we go, okay, there's the team a lot of people thought you won. Why do you think that was the case throughout?
It's a great question. Part of that is mine. I made the comment of now you know. It's unfortunate that this is my answer. I don't like that this is my answer. But it's that's a learning lesson for us. Just as much as I said not closing the door, right? Like when you're up 22, it's the same thing. I don't have that answer for you right now. But I will say that's something that we will address in the summer and talk about, because you're right. It shouldn't take that. If we want to be a championship team, right? It shouldn't. And there's so many variables that go into it, right? It's not just like coming out just me just trying to go shoot, like, you know what I mean, trying to figure it out or whatever it is, right? But that can't happen if we want to be the team we want to be. And we skated by. We were able to navigate through it. But now you know. And I hate that that's my answer. I'm sorry, I do. But it's just something that we will figure out and address and be ready for next year.
Donovan, obviously looking ahead a little bit, next season, Boston's going to be healthier. Indiana's going to be healthier. Detroit's going to be back. New York's going to still be who they are. How does that fuel the preparation that you're going to have, knowing that the East is not only going to be as good as it was, but potentially stronger?
We're still here. So that's all that matters.
Donovan, I know you mentioned game one multiple times, and obviously the 2 game sixes. I guess in the offseason, what's the process like for you in terms of, the fine line between using it as motivation, looking back on it, but not getting lost or stuck in those sort of situations?
I mean, I think this year is a prime example of that, right? Like, I think I challenged everybody last year to use last year's motivation, and I can confidently say 1 through 15, 16 that we have. It looks a little different. It looked different this year, like it wasn't as seamless. But for us to overcome what we overcame this regular season to get to this point is a lot of mental fortitude that I'm really, really happy with. So as much as I talk about what we need to improve on, I really do want to show love and appreciation for what we've done as a group, what guys have been able to push through, whether it's injuries, whether it's, some guys have been in the gym getting treatment more than I've ever seen them since I've been here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want it to seem like I'm just saying all this negative stuff, right? Like, there's a lot that this group the step has been taken. I will say that. We talked about it last media day this year. We talked about it at the end of the season last year. And I think that the biggest thing now is you got to double down. You got to do more. But I do think mental fortitude is there. And we just got to double down on it. You got no AC in here? Yeah. Got no AC? That's no AC. Oh. Jesus Christ.
Let's talk about your 3 months with James. James has always been a player defined, especially by what happened this time of year, not winning a championship, all those things. Obviously, you feel you can probably relate to that a little bit with not getting to the conference finals. What don't people understand, though, about James Harden, the basketball player, that gets lost in a lot of those conversations?
I think there's a lot to that. I think we ignore leadership by him. I think we ignore the human, the character of who he is. All positive things, by the way. I think we ignore the empowerment that he gives people. I think we also ignore his greatness in a major way. And I say we, I really mean y'all, sorry. Like, this man changed the game of basketball. Like, changed the game of basketball in ways that we've never seen before. And we live in such a ring-dominant culture that we're willing to write a guy off because he hasn't gotten there. A guy that's transcended basketball, right? Like, in 75 years, no one's been able to do what he does. You could say the same thing about Steph Curry, Allen Iverson, right? Like Michael Jordan. James Harden's in that. So, yeah, like, obviously I can relate to not having reached a certain point, but I do also feel like we don't talk about his greatness enough. We don't talk about the person he is. He played alongside Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid won MVP. He was 2 inches away from a conference finals with the Brooklyn Nets. Like, some of that is just unlucky stuff. Like, can't control that. And he was on a bad hamstring. We don't talk about him playing through this. Man, I don't know if his thumb is still messed up. He hadn't said nothing since the report came out. We haven't heard nothing about it. Like, we don't talk about the mental fortitude to deal with that. Like, I don't know what it is, if he's healthy or not. I wouldn't be able to know because he has the same way he could have one leg and he'd be the same. And I think it's really, truly unfair, to be honest. Now more than ever, now that I see it on a daily basis. But that's just the society we live in. That's the world we live in. We're a ringed culture. That's just how we are. So, like I said to you, we can't fight it. It just is what it is. But I do think people overlook the greatness. 17 years, dog. Like, it's a long time. It's a long time. And I think we are so quick to jump on him and get on him about what he's doing at 36. At 36, right? Like, let's not forget this man he ran into a really good Golden State team 2 or 3 times. A team, like, so it's unfortunate, but I know that's what drives him, and that's ultimately, as a teammate, that's what drives me. But we sometimes lose the plot on the greatness of that individual and what he brings to the game of basketball, to the brand of basketball. So, yeah.
I know you've mentioned a couple of times now, even dating back to the last game, just blowing the lead in game 1. When you're in the moment, you guys try to block that out, move on, move past it. I get that. You talk about mental fortitude. Did that weigh on you guys at all more than maybe it seemed? With it kind of coming back up as much as it has, and knowing that's like the biggest lesson you're kind of taking away from the series?
I don't think so in the moment. I don't think in games 2, 3, and 4 we were like, damn, if we would have just. I think it was something we knew, but I don't think it was something that really was with us mentally. To be honest, I didn't feel that, at least from the group.